All right, now let's talk about the frequency distribution for monthly return on the S&P 500. This is the frequency distribution table. As you can see, we have a number of intervals. I think we have about 37 intervals, and each interval has a width of 2%. And the data, the lowest return, the range of the data is from minus 30 up to 44%. And these numbers have been rounded, so it's not exactly 44%, but we have rounded so we can have a better, cleaner intervals over here. All right. So as you can see, we have a lot of intervals, and the quantity of monthly data is pretty large. So let's see how frequency distribution table can help us, find out important information about these monthly returns. So, like I said, the monthly total return on the S&P 500 from January 1926 to December 2012. So that means the total number of observations will be 1,044 months, right? And our returns range from minus 30 up to 44%. That means we have about 74% of range. And the result is 37 interval. The interval width of each interval is 2%. All right. Now, the first thing that we can notice when we look at this frequency distribution, when we're looking at the absolute frequency column, when we come down, we see, over here, somewhere here, the number of absolute frequencies kind of rise. Over here we have like 1, 0, then here it kind of picks up, then again, and we go down to 6, 2, 3, 0, 0, 0. So over here we have the vast majority of the returns, and to be exact, from here up to here, right? So these four intervals from minus 2% up to 6%. We have the vast majority of the returns over here, and once we add up these absolute frequencies, that will be 687. 687 of the absolute frequencies of our returns are only in these four intervals, right? And if we divide this number by the number of total observations, we will get 66%. So that's pretty big, right? 66% of all of our returns of the monthly outcomes are only in these four intervals, spanning from minus 2 up to 6%. And by the way, this interval over here, 0 to 2%, also we have the most number of returns in that interval. 220 monthly returns are in the 0 to 2% interval. All right, great. What else can we see? Now, here, I think it's a good place to mention this one, that as you can see, we have intervals that end with 0% and begin with 0%, right? It's always a good idea, if you can, when you're constructing your frequency distribution, to include that 0% intervals in there. So that will be easy to find out how many negative returns you have, how many positive returns you have. For example, in our case here, in the S&P 500 case, minus 2 up to 0, that means we are not including 0. So everything over here is negative, right? And if I go across, seeing the cumulative absolute frequency column, I can see it is 396. So what does that mean? That means 396 of the monthly returns are negative, less than 0, right? And again, if I come again across here, cumulative relative frequency, I can see the percentage of that. 37.93% of the monthly outcomes are negative. So if 37.93% of them are, negative, then it's pretty easy to calculate. The rest would be positive, right? So that'll be about 62% of them are positive. Now, if I wanted to know in the cumulative frequency form, like this number, that will be 1044 minus the negative ones, 396, that will give me 648. 648 of them are positive, which translates to 62% of them. So as you can see, the advantage of using a frequency distribution table is pretty evident over here, right? So many useful information we got from the table. We found out that 62% of the observations monthly returns are positive, 37.93 of them are negative. That means 396 monthly outcomes, right? And the vast majority of the returns are in these four intervals spanning from -2 up to 6%. And this interval contains the most number of monthly outcomes, 220 of them. And one more thing when we are looking at the absolute frequency, like I said before, when we pass the 12% over here, when we pass the 12% from here onwards, we don't have many returns here, and also the other way when we go from -12, anything less than -12. So not many returns we have less than -12, not many returns we have more than 12%, right? And this, by the way, when we look at the histogram and the frequency polygons, later we will see that not many returns less than -12 and not many returns more than +12, and the majority are in the middle. This creates like a symmetrical, almost symmetrical distribution shape that will be much clearer when we look at the histogram and the polygon and the rest of the charts. So let's take a look at the histogram of our table.